Thank you. wewet. Chikwase, tlotlampa.
Okay, I don't want to give my back to anybody. Not standing. What we did right now is what, out of courtesy, we have to do for everyone, even if it's our enemy, and that's the tradition to receive anybody. So there's a lot of things that we have to correct in history that it's our job for those who are still practicing our native ways, and it's our job too, because that helps out to make the future generations to have a better understanding of what really happened, you know. And first of all, you know, we didn't really confuse Cortés with anybody. It's his opinion of how we received him, you know, but this is our tradition. This is how we have to receive anybody, like I said, even if it's our enemy. And that was the law of the land. The law of the land said that you have to receive even your enemies like a good host. So not only did we receive him, you know, with incense, which is one of the most important things that you can do for somebody, you know. Cleanse what's most important to the human body, which is, you know, air. You know, before we are born, we are doing everything except for one thing, which is breathing. You know, when you are born, you still gotta do one last thing, which is to start breathing, and then before you go out of this physical world, and the last thing you do, those who have seen somebody pass away, you know, they do one last thing, and, you know, they take the last breath, and then, you know, that's why we have to cleanse the air. You know, cleansing the air for somebody, you know, it's something very important that you can do for somebody. And we didn't receive him thinking that he was some type of religious person. We received him how it was the traditional way. And since he said that he was an ambassador for somebody that had power, or people, or a king, or, you know, whatever he was serving, then we understood that. So we cannot receive somebody who's an ambassador of anything without giving him gifts. You know, we have to show them that we thank their time, you know, for visiting. So that's why he was also giving gifts. Not because we thought that he was somebody, you know, with religious power, but we just received him with courtesy, you know. So it's not that we confused him, but we received him, you know, even though by then we already knew who he was. One thing too to learn about the native ways is that we could communicate within hours from east to west, not by you know, letters, but through sound. You know, it wasn't that hard for people to find something out that was happening on the East Coast, and if you were on the West Coast, it wasn't that hard to find out what was really going on. You know, we had ways of communicating, so that's one thing that we also have to communicate. You know, and I also want to make sure that we all understand, you know, that we decided whether to receive Cortés or not. We took a decision, and that was to show those who are visitors to the land or the land of Anahuac, or the land of all of us right now. We decided to receive him because we thought that he could be a better person, show us better than what we already knew that he was doing. But I don't want to say that we all make mistakes, but we decided to go with respect. So that's one more thing that I really hope you guys understand, that we didn't confuse him with anybody. We received him with the native way, and we gave him gifts because he said that he represented, somebody, or he was an ambassador of somebody. And we did not trade gold for mirrors, thinking, that it was more valuable. Gold didn't have value. Nothing material has value. What had value was that, being able to see another day. So for us, gold, it was something that you could polish and you could reflect the light of the sun, So when somebody gave you something and it was shiny, we gave it to you as a present, like saying, here, have a little piece of light, have a little piece of a day, have a little piece of eyesight. You keep that in mind too, that we don't see because we have eyes. We see because there's a little piece of fire out there, and we're going around it, We don't see because we have eyes. We see because of that. So that was very important to us, And we traded mirrors with them because, that shines more. So we didn't trade anything for the value other than, being able to be alive. That's why everything represented. And thank you for inviting us. I really hope that everybody here, especially the young ones, change history. And by changing history, I'm not talking about, doing rebellious thing, but start on the easy things, which is understanding one another. Once we understand one another, then you can correct the things that you have lived, the people that understand our ways too, We understand your ways as we have for of years. So please, please, we are gathering here now, not by coincidence, but because it's time. It's time to be okay with one another, and we already know your ways. It doesn't hurt to know our ways either, because for those things who are native ways, and when I say native ways, I'm talking about things, a way of thinking that's thousands of years old, we will find out that we have a lot in common. But that we had in common, for purposes of the benefit of power, then it got changed. So now that we all understand each other, now that we have an English where we can, a language where we can communicate, then it's okay. Ask us questions, Then we can be okay. We can start, this, and I will say it, a healing process, because history is very hurtful. History is very hurtful for those who understand that, it is what it is today because of, power, power over people instead of consciousness, instead of doing things for others who don't have a benefit for you. That's how it hasn't been for a long time. So I hope that the young ones, everybody who has kids, grandkids here, I hope you guys encourage them to question everything, to question especially history. And it's kind of funny that medicine has evolved. Technology has evolved. Our way of thinking has evolved, except for one thing, which is history. So ask yourselves why, and I really hope you guys, everybody that's here pushes it to become something better. Everything has to evolve, and history will help us. Remember, history is not for things. History is for us. Nothing else other than for us. So please change history for the truth, for the benefit of one another. Aho. And we will do a couple of dances. These dances, they had a purpose. A lot of people want to know what they mean, but I will leave it to you guys as, energy cannot be, destroyed, I guess. It turns into something else. So our energy, it's for the benefit of all of us here, for this gathering. And I hope you guys, learn something today, and thank you very much. One thing to really try to understand is that we didn't have directions. We had a sunrise we had a sunset, we had a here, and we had up there, but by up there, we meant space. You know, there was no east, west, north, and south, because we didn't have maps. What we did have was an understanding that we were part of a solar system, and to understand to what point we understood the solar system, we didn't call that the sun. The sun for us was what we know, or what we call the Milky Way. We understood, that's what we call the sun, the universe, or the Milky Way. This was the baby sun, or what we call a piece of what we call the sun, or the Milky Way. For us, the center of the solar system was what we call the Milky Way. It wasn't that. So that's why when you read about like counts or calendars, they go on for thousands of years, because we all know that this solar system goes also around the Milky Way. So one thing to understand too, we didn't have different calendars. It was the same thing, and it had a base, but depending on the region, then they drew it, or they sculpted a different way, but it's all the same. And we didn't have calendars, we had one. And they're really complicated to understand, but they're all the same. They're all the same, except, you know, they look different, but they're all the same. So, otra vez. About the responsibility of our capacity. As humans, we have to really use our way of understanding to the most. For us, you know, science wasn't one thing, and I guess if we call it in today's terms, religion, it wasn't something different. You know, we combined both things. So corn, you know the history of corn, you know how much we were involved with it. But that was, so you guys understand, you know, there was no such thing called monopoly or money back in the day. So we didn't really have a system of government. What we had were leaders or people who spoke not for themselves or what they wanted to do, but for the elder ones. You know, their leader or Cuauhtemoc or whoever you can think of, the decisions weren't theirs. It was a decision. He just spoke. A leader, we didn't call him a governor or anything like that. We called him Tlacuani, the one who speaks. So he spoke for what the decisions of the elders. You know, he didn't really took decisions amongst the people. He spoke what the elders decided. And corn is very important. It's a sign that our people or our elders, they said, let's create something that creates liberty for everybody. You know, corn, you know, it can be made into a lot of things. So that was a gift for those ones, from those ones who said, you know, we want to speak for you. So here's a gift. Here's freedom. Take responsibility of, you know, how much you're gonna feed your family, and take that as a gift from those who speak for you. So corn is very important. The first dance that we do at the beginning and at the end, it talks about, you know, the wind, and with the wind comes the rain. Now that we have the basic element of everything, which is water. Now, as humans, we're gonna create something that creates, freedom and responsibility for all of us. So we created corn. So now as humans, we can work the land. And now that we know how to work the land, then we are adding our intention. We are adding our responsibility in the native ways. And if you guys have seen people, farm corn, you know that this is how they bury, the corn. So every time we do that, we're doing a prayer for you guys and for everybody that's here. Cómete. That has that. We can't deny that scientifically or however you want to call it, that we are heat. If you don't believe me, go to this. I won't touch your face. Everybody go to this. That, it's that, and we all understand how it gets into our body. So, we always do the dances to the left, because that's where our heart is. That's where the movement is. If all of this wasn't moving, if the earth wasn't doing this, instead of the the sun doesn't do this, right?
Right.
If you think about it, we're doing this. And which way are we facing? We're kind of like sideways, right? So that's why we always start the dances to the left, because that's the movement that everything has. If you think about it, it's where does the heart start pumping? So, and on top of that, what's the very first thing that starts to develop in the human body? It's corazón, the heart. And so whatever we do to this side, the same way that the heart does it, the other side has to do. So whatever we do this way, we do it this way. Everything has 4 steps, 4 elements. We don't really worship the elements, but we understand how important they are to all of us, to the human body, or for everything that's similar to a human, even the tree. So this is the last dance. Uno, carnal, el último, el que quieras. Uno. ¿Empiezo? Sí. Somebody who would kick somebody's butt, or who did what you see in movies, which is pretend to be a Spartan or whatever. For us, a warrior, it was somebody who was an example to the community, somebody who earned respect, not somebody who killed. In fact, in a war, you had to agree to be at war. You gathered and you had a feast, you would celebrate, and the day before you would go to war. In fact, if somebody declared war on you, then you had to give your best weapons to those ones. But war was a last resort, And fighting wasn't about killing. That's how we say. Even the most stupid person can kill. Yeah. So for us, fighting, it was more like wrestling. And we wear this and we wear this, not just for the looks of it. This is a sign to those who practice the the way. Now, this is a compromise with one another to separate the mind from the body, and we understand that this is the half of the body, and here is where we were connected to, to a mother at one point. And if we want to keep that connection, then this is a compromise. We wear this as a compromise to try to understand what we are part of. Okay, so a warrior was somebody who was respected and who did things for the community, not somebody who had power over the community. So, Mateo, thank you very much. And
Well, thank you again. One last thing.
we did know how to write, and we have all heard this phrase, a picture is with 1,000 words. That's why we use pictures instead of words, because a word is limited. You know, a word, it will only be as big as the definition is. We use pictures. You know, the bad thing is that you have to be included in the community to understand. But the good thing is that it can mean 1,000 things for each one of us that is here, you know. So it can be 1,000 things for you and another 1,000 things for her, you know. But we all understand it. We call that philosophy. So that's why we use pictures instead of words, because we understood that words are limited. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad we had these indigenous prayers. We're going to have a Jewish prayer now and then eat, and then there'll be more prayers. But let me tell you a little bit about this Jewish prayer that's going to happen now, which is very different. 1492 was a difficult year for people in these lands. It was also a difficult